There are many loose silk painting techniques, and let's look at one more. As always, I'll be using a palette, paper towels, and the dye set today is yellow, orange and ultramarine. Honestly, starting this project, I had a very different picture in my head, but it turned out the way it did. But I think it's pretty good too. So I'm starting with very conventional and simple flowers, and this is probably how a child would picture it. At this stage, you can play with water control, trying what degree of fluidity of the dye suits you better. As you can see, my dye is flowing very well today. In fact, that's what I had planned. That the dye would flow, the shapes would flow, and that's what I needed. Uncertainty and fuzziness. And still I decided to introduce the emerald green dye. The drier the brush, the less the dye will spread. And this is of course logical and obvious, but I wanted to bring this to your attention again. And there are many videos on water control on my channel, and I will leave links below. The beauty of this technique is that you can paint drier or wetter and see what you like best. And there is no need for clearly defined pattern here. Some shapes will spread a lot and lose their outlines, like here. Some shapes will retain their outlines. And you can go back to the same flower while it's wet. Or you can correct it later when it's dry. And you are free to do whatever you want. Sorry, the focus on camera is jumping around. Hopefully it will go away soon. Right now I'm randomly filling in the empty spaces in the center. Not really randomly though, because I'm grouping all the warm colors in the center, and this will create a sense of wholeness to the composition. And to reinforce the compositional center, I'll apply a darker color closer to the edges. As I mentioned before, you can come back to the flower when it dries. Overall, now the picture has an organized composition focused in the center. But to be honest, I'm not a big fan of the combination of yellow and green. And why yellow is here, I don't know, it just happened. And now I have the extra work to overlap this yellow. If we mix orange and ultramarine, we get a pretty neutral color that we can take away to a more brown color if we add more orange, or if we add more ultramarine, we get a more gray color. Let me elaborate on this point. Ultramarine and orange are complementary colors, and when we add one to the other, we muted them, getting either a browner shade or a grayer shade. A little bit of color theory was in this video if you happen to be interested. Now, without the yellow color, I like the range better, but it can be made more dynamic by introducing darker spots. Right now it looks like watercolor splashes, and you can barely guess the plant motif here. If we want to flesh out the pattern a bit, we can draw line graphics on top. And we can do this with any dark, resist or gutta, but I find it much easier to use permanent markers that will leave your silk soft to the touch, and which are just as suitable for wearable art. And you can choose any thickness of marker you want. Yes, and the color can be any, but it's desirable that it was dark enough that the line drawn by the marker are well readable or stand out. My blue marker is pretty dry, and here's another marker of the same thickness, but red. But here again there is no focus. A black marker is probably best, but you may be calling it the Sharpie. As always, likes, subscriptions and comments are warmly welcomed, and thanks to those who share my videos. It all makes a difference, and thank you very much again. Also, if you'd like, you can support me by buying me a cup of coffee or two or whatever you'd like, and there is a link at the bottom. My page at Buy Me a Coffee is still raw, but I'm planning to introduce an option to review your artworks. Maybe some of you will be interested in it. And let me know, please, if you'd like that. And I find this platform will be a comfortable place to go. I hope you enjoyed the video, maybe even liked it. Anyway, I wish you the most successful mastering of silk painting, and I'll see you.